Okay, on the last quiz, okay, very quiet. On the last quiz, I gave you like one problem that said show why this is equal to that, and you had to show like if 3x plus 7 equals 2x minus 5, and you know how to solve the equation, but basically when you're solving an equation, you're using a few properties that are accepted to work for the equation. The first one is the addition property. Addition property, and if you want to write these down, it's fine. If you don't, you can just remember. If you know that A equals B, okay, the addition property says that I can add the same thing to both sides. Should be reviewed from algebra, right? I can add the same thing to both sides. So if A equals B, then A plus C equals B plus C, right? Okay? And this works as well in geometry when you're adding things together. So that's the addition property. Subtraction property, that works exactly the same. So subtraction property says if A equals B, then I can subtract the same thing from both sides. And therefore A minus C equals B minus C. You know that? Yes? Because the equal sign is kind of like a scale. That's like I balance it, right? Okay, so that's a subtraction property. You know, that kind of scale, not the kind that you weigh yourself, but a balance scale. So that's called the subtraction property of equality. And then we have the the multiplication property of equality. Do you know about that? Where you can multiply the same thing by both sides. You have the division property of equality. Do I need to go over all these? I don't think so. And then you have the one thing that you might not or might not remember. You have the distributive property. Distributive property of equality. Property, which is like if you have A times B. Let me try one more time. A times B plus C, what's that equal to? A times B plus A times C. Sometimes that's kind of useful. You could use that. Watch, I'm going to make. So if you want to do 62 times 99 cents, you can do that in your head using the distributive property really quick. Have anyone know how? You could go 62 times 100 minus 1, right? So you have 6,200 minus 62, which is, what is that? 6, 1, 3, 8. There's this guy I saw him on like YouTube or something. He does all these, he like multiply huge numbers in his head, and he's doing stuff like this, applying those properties so he could go, I'm not there. Okay. So, and then lastly, there's a substitution property, which we're going to use today a little bit. If A equals B, and A is also equal to C, what else can you say?
B equals C.
Then B equals C. That's a substitution property, which says that if A is equal to one thing and A is equal to another thing, I can take this and plug it in there, and I could get that B is equal to C, right? Which we use, and that's what you use when you're solving systems of equations. All right. So now I'm just going to give you a couple quick examples, and just one example, and then we're going to do 3 examples. All right. And then you're going to have some time to work. Hey, this is like algebra class, isn't it? 4x plus 8 minus. Oh, this is complicated. Minus 4 times 2x. Whoops, I messed up. 4x plus 8 equals negative 4 times 2x minus 7 plus 4. And they say solve that equation. So when you have something like this, you use all those properties. Do you guys know how to do this? Yeah? Sort of. Okay. Who can tell me what to do first? Distribute. Very good. So you get 4x plus 8 equals, distribute this through, minus 8x plus 28 plus 4. Who can tell me what to do next? Add the like terms. Very good. 4x plus, this is kind of a review, equals negative 8x I'm gonna combine these plus 32. Now I'm gonna apply some of those properties. So what am I gonna apply?
Minus 4x.
Subtract 8?
No.
Oh yeah,
Or
let's
you can
subtract
add
8.
Oh, yeah.
Or I can add 8.
No,
Let's
no,
make,
subtract
what?
Subtract 8.
8.
Subtract
Add
8.
8x.
Minus 8, minus 8. Why not? Okay? So I get 4x equals minus 8x plus 24. Now what? So I just use subtraction property, I use distributive property up here. I did, okay, so, that's right. Plus 8x, right? Plus 8x plus 8x. Hey, what's wrestling? No food in class. 12x. 12x equals 24. Now what?
Divide by 2.
Division property, so I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2. I get x equals
Divide by 2.
12, sorry, 12. I get x equals 2. And then you should really take that and plug it in way up here and in here and make sure it works, which it should, okay? I'm not going to do it. Have you done that before? You should have seen that. Okay? Now, when people always freak out when they get to fractions, and in that circumcenter problem, you're going to see some fractions. So I'm going to do I'm going to do one where you're solving a simple equation that has fractions in it. And then I'm going to show you something that you might see when you encounter that problem of the week that I gave you. And this is kind of why we're doing that. A, so you can solve the problem of the week, but B, so you get some practice solving equations. Who can tell me what to do with this? Anyone know an easy way to do this? X, so solve. Why did they say solve?
You have to make it like.
Yeah, you got to find a common denominator. What the easiest thing to do is to multiply both sides by a common denominator. Multiply everything.
20.
Very good. Okay? Everything there on the bottom goes into 20, right? So I can multiply this by 20, which means first I have to divide 2 into 20, which gives me what? 10. So that gives me 10x. And that fraction goes away. See that? Okay? And oops, I have to multiply by 20 over here. How many times does 5 go into 20? 4 times. So I go 4 times 3, what's that? 12 x. And 4 goes into 20 5 times. And 5 times negative 1 is minus 5. See how you get rid of those fractions? Nice and easy, like that. Have you done that before? That's a good way to get rid of fractions. I mean, you could, combine the like terms and then set it equal to 1/4, but it becomes messy, Now what I would do, what would I do? What would I do next?
Subtract 10. No,
Subtract 10?
Subtract 12.
Yeah, I'd subtract 12, even though it turns out to be negative, that's okay. Minus 12x, minus 12x, and you get minus 2x equals minus 5. And then I divide by negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, and I get x, that goes away, equals negative divided by negative is a positive 5 over 2. But you could leave it like that, or you could write it as 2.5, or you could write it as 2.5, however you want to do it. That's okay. All right? You got that now? Now, this is where it gets, you want to write that down? I just want to write that down. Okay. Hey! You're not taking any notes. You know how to do this already? Sure? Good. All right. So in that problem of the week I gave you, what you're doing, so I'm going to kind of take you through real briefly what you are trying to do. You start with a triangle. Okay, look at that triangle. That's so dope.
Sorcery.
All right. And then they tell you to find the midpoints of all 3 sides, right? And then using those midpoints, you have to make the, what did they have to make? The perpendicular bisectors, right? So you're going to come up with an equation of this line, and then you're going to come up with an equation of this line, And then you're going to come up with an equation of this line. Okay? Ooh, I did that pretty good for a freehand, didn't I? Okay? And the way you find the equation of this line, say you find the slope of this is negative 1/2, right? What would be the slope of this? This you might want to take note of. What would be the slope of that?
Wait, you said -2?
That slope of that would be
Oh,
2, right? Say I determine, I know the coordinates, and I find out that this point is 3, 2 over here. Okay? Then I could find the equation of this line. Yeah? Okay? And the way you do that is you can either use this thing called the point slope formula, which I gave you in that handout, x minus x1. Have you guys seen this before? Or you can use slope-intercept form, which you guys like better, right? Y equals mx plus b. Remember that? Okay. So now you plug this point and this slope into either of those forms to come up with the equation of the line. So in this case, let's say I know you guys like this form better, even though I like this form better. Okay? Because all in this form, all you have to do is plug in the point xy, which would be 3, 2, and plug in the slope, which would be 2. See, and then you're done, pretty much, and then you can simplify it. In this form, what you have to do is you put in 3, 2 for y, so it's not that much harder. You put in 2 for y, you put in 2 for the slope, you put in 3 for x,
Why didn't you put 2?
and you solve that for b. What?
Oh, never mind.
Okay, so now you have 2 equals 6 plus b, and then I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides, so what's b equal to?
-4.
B equals -4, and then you could take that and write the equation of this line, which is y equals m, which is 2, x plus b, which is -4. You understand that? Yes? How you would find the equation of that line? There's the equation of that line. This is a complicated problem because after that, what you're supposed to do is find the equation of this line and or the equation of this line and see where they intersect. And then what you're supposed to do is take your compass to show that you actually found the circumcenter and put your compass right there and draw a circle that exactly hits those 3 points. I'm way off, but I did everything freehand, right? If I did that correctly, this point would hit over here, and that would hit over here, and that would. But I just was, I was just playing, All right. So anyway, so now you know how to find the equation of the line, you know how to find the slope of those lines and stuff like that. So now what you need to do, say for instance that I came up with 2 lines, and I want to find out, because I asked you algebraically, find where those 2 lines intersect. So let's just pretend that your 2 lines came out to be y equals, and your homework is much easier than this. It's just not until you get to the problem of the week that you have to do something like this. Y equals, I made it kind of nasty. Y equals 3/2. Y equals 3/2 x minus 1/2. And I say find where those 2 lines intersect. Would you know how to do that? No. So you use the substitution property since this equals this and this equals this. When to find where they intersect, you set them equal to each other. Okay? So what I can do is I can take this and put it in here for y. And when I do that, I get this equation. 2 over 3x plus 6 equals 3 over 2x minus, 2 over 3x minus 1/2. See? Now what? How do I get rid of all those fractions?
Multiply by 6.
Very good. Multiply everything by 6. So I'm going to multiply everything on this side by 6 and everything this side by 6. 3 goes into 6 how many times?
Twice.
2 twice. Times 2 is 4x. 6 times 6 is 36. Okay? 6 times 6, 2 divided into 6 is 3 times 3 is 9x. And 2 goes into 6 how many times? 3 times -1, it's -3. See how you can get rid of all those fractions nice and easy like that? Then you just solve the equation. Still, it's going to end up with some fractions. But it works. You subtract 4x from both sides, minus 4x. Okay? So I get, this is a lot of math, isn't it? 5x minus 3 equals 36, because that goes away. Add 3 to both sides, add 3, and I get 5x equals 39. X, 39, I wrote 36, 39. X equals 39 divided by 5, which is 7 and 2/5, or 7.4? 7.4. So that's the x coordinate where they intersect. How would I find the y coordinate where they intersect?
Don't do like you do plug in.
Yep. Then I take that number and I plug it back into either one of my two equations. Okay? I would plug it back into either this one or into this one. If I did it right, I should get out the same thing. And I'm not going to do that part, but that's kind of what you have to do for that problem of the week. Okay, so first you have to find the equation of the line, then you have to find where they intersect. Once you find that point of intersection, then you should be able to put your compass point there and circumscribe the circle about the triangle. So it's pretty complicated. All right, so now you have enough skill. I'm going to give you some time to work on this algebra section, okay, which is page 214, 1 through 15 odd. It's not that bad. And their problems aren't as bad as, I'm just going to give you like 15 minutes to do this. Except 2 for I was trying to write it, but Moby is not cooperating again. Come on. Moby. Stop. Oh, there it goes. Nope. There. There. Page 214. It's just 7 problems. 1 through 15 odd. Just giving you a little review of algebra. You can start and work on that for about, that's part of your homework. So there's going to be 2 parts to your homework. So this is the first part. Okay, so work for about 15-20 minutes. I'll come and check your homework. Please get this done, or try to get most of it done, because you're going to have another assignment on top of this. So, yeah, because I got to teach you something else.
So,
That's rich. People still say that? People say that all the time. What do they do?
it's more Gucci now.
It's Gucci? Yeah, it's Gucci. Wait, are kids actually saying that now?
Yeah,
I got everyone to say that.
What's
So-
Gucci?
No, that's the.
What's Gucci?
Huh? With souls, I told you.
The